I will be presenting the work and research I did through ED 638 Curriculum Development and Design. I have titled my presentation A Teacher's Heart at the Center of Leadership in the School and in the Curriculum. I'd like to first begin by talking about a heart for teaching. Teaching is a career field where having children share their lives is very common. Sometimes they may share that they are struggling with academics. And of course, the teacher is going to step in and help with those students. They're going to help with differentiation and they're going to help with scaffolding. Students will also share about their personal lives. And teachers typically will take an interest in those personal lives. The teacher can take interest in students even before a problem is presented. And this is where leading in the school comes in. They can begin by leading changes and meetings and programs in the school, and they can lead in modeling good habits and behaviors. The heart of teaching starts with a desire to lead in one way or another. A heart for teaching absolutely reflects the character of Jesus. For example, Jesus washing the disciples' feet, or Paul calling us to walk in love as Christ did. Christ modeled love, and that is what a teacher's heart does. When teachers and staff members begin leading, they absolutely reflect the character of Jesus. He was the ultimate teacher, and his heart was for modeling righteous behavior. Not only does a heart for teacher reflect the character of Jesus, it shows a genuine love for the children, and it desires to see improvements in the school. Teachers have a voice in their school to help lead changes. A misconception of the field of education is that teachers have to have a high level of education or have to have years of experience in their field. However, this is not the case. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses, even those that are in their first year of teaching and those that have been teaching for over 20 years. If someone is working with the students and in the school, then their voice and opinion is valuable. Ecclesiastes 4 talks about how two are better than one, and the book also gives an image of a cord becoming stronger as more support is added. The only true qualification that is needed for a teacher to lead is to have a heart for helping with meaningful school improvements. Training may need to follow, but without the true heart for leadership, then that training will mean absolutely nothing, even for veteran teachers. So, what does a leader look like? I'm going to go over some areas, but I will expand on them some more later in the presentation. Firstly, a teacher can look like a teacher leader. Teacher leaders are those that help analyze student data and lead discussions, and usually they oversee professional learning communities with same grade level teachers. One of the jobs of teacher leaders is to go through issues and come up with solutions with a team to help find solutions to problems and improvements needed in the school. A, te- a leader would also look like somebody that leads in a curriculum. A teacher can reshape the curriculum that students receive to ensure that it is fair and culturally relevant. Teachers can also become leaders by modeling an implicit curriculum, which I will discuss a little bit more further on in this presentation. But an implicit curriculum is what students learn outside of academics, and the teacher can lead through that. Teacher leaders may feel like that they are alone. They are leading, so they need to be a step above. But however, they are not alone. They are working with a team through a lot of collaboration. And we should be willing, even if someone is not in the position of being a teacher leader, those that make up the team should be willing to carry each other's burdens. And that is what a teacher leader does as well. They are taking on the responsibilities of school improvement to help find solutions. They are helping administration with some of their responsibilities as well. And the team can come together and reduce burden on all of those that are working in the school. And as I mentioned earlier in this presentation about professional learning communities, or what I have on here as centers, because they are a time for teachers to collaborate together. And these professional learning communities are held as meetings where everyone involved has the target of seeing and helping with meaningful school improvement. Typically, these meetings are held with all the teachers of the same grade level, an instructional coach, and maybe an administrator. I have seen a few schools do this with a vice principal involved, and some other schools, the vice principal is not involved. It just really depends. And these professional learning communities are times where student data is analyzed and discussed, so ideas can be thrown out there on how the students can improve in their learning, what teachers can do and adjust in their instruction and in their assessment to help the students learn the material better. One of the biggest things in being a leader in the school is modeling. Modeling is a time where other teachers and parents and administration and staff members, everybody in the school, and especially the students, they are actively watching to see how someone is handling a situation or how they are behaving, what they are saying, how they are acting. So, as we go through all of these next few points, I want you, as the listener of this presentation, to ask yourself, what am I modeling? What am I modeling to my coworkers? What am I modeling to the students in my classroom, in the hallway, during extracurriculars? What is being modeled? And this is where the implicit curriculum comes in. Teachers are leaders in modeling this implicit curriculum. And as I mentioned earlier, the implicit curriculum is what students learn that is not academics. And in an article from 2003 by Linda Inlay, she points out 4 areas that should be emphasized in implicit curriculum. She explains that responsibility, respect, responsiveness, and resourcefulness are what is needed. And I would also like to add on through another article by Brown is that we need to teach health and wellness habits to students. We want children to grow up to be healthy. So we should become the first leaders in modeling healthy lifestyle by being physically active, not drinking sugary drinks and all these processed foods, especially as we have been having that parasite going around lately in America. We should ensure that we are modeling eating healthy foods that do not carry bacteria that is unhealthy for us, and because the students are going to be watching to see if we are or if we aren't. All of these qualities form the foundation for both students and teachers' character development and spiritual growth. So the question is, how on earth can these be taught? Firstly, teachers need to consider the students' backgrounds. Henry Giroux's article from 1994 brings up teaching and reforming the students' curriculum through looking at each student individually. They should be seen for their social needs, emotional needs, social background, political background, and of course their socioeconomic status. Viewing all the students in the school as one collective group that are all similar in their desires or in their backgrounds creates an unfair and unjust curriculum that the students they're not going to learn from. These students will never truly understand these valuable life lessons, and they will not learn good citizenship and moral responsibility and these healthy habits, which is one of the jobs that the school should be taking on. Of course, there should be discipline structures in the school and in the classroom. And there are times where direct punishment might be necessary, especially if there is violence happening. But for more simple things, such as a disagreement, having a teacher step in and be responsive does not mean that the teacher needs to go directly to direct punishment. Instead, students should be taught that they are responsible for their actions and that their actions have both positive or negative consequences. Instead of the teacher is focusing on immediate punishment and direct discipline, they can actively listen to the students and teach through positive interactions and modeling. This is a best practice as it models respect and responsiveness and proactiveness to students' needs, which shows how those children are made in the image of God. And of course, as I have been bringing up the recurring theme of modeling through leading, teachers and staff members intervening when issues arrive show students what being responsive means in everyday life. Students see these positive examples and are encouraged by that positive reinforcement to exhibit the desired behaviors. Teachers will need to become resourceful in order to help meet the needs of those around their community. Resourcefulness involves diligent planning, preparation, and adapting to multiple needs. So, what are the expectations? We have them for students, we have them for teachers. Everyone has expectations. Of course, students are expected to perform well on academics, they're expected to study and do their absolute best. But in the school curriculum, the academics is not the only thing, as we just discussed. It's also that implicit curriculum. And students should be held to high expectations for their character development. And teachers should be careful of not being too hypocritical by teaching the implicit curriculum and not living it out. Of course, humans, we make mistakes. It most likely will happen. But it's what the teacher does after making a mistake is what the students will be watching. And that's where the teacher can model. The expectations for teachers is that they become leaders. They do not necessarily have to become teacher leaders, even though that is completely wonderful and they are able to help initiate changes in school improvements. But even just through being a part of a collaborative work is an expectation of a teacher to become that modeling leader. Teachers are expected to show that implicit curriculum of being respectful, resourceful, responsive, and have responsibility and be healthy and show wellness habits. Proper leadership will want to help students academically, but it absolutely should not stop there. Leaders will want to help develop students' character to model Christ's life and his righteousness. And without a teacher having a desire to become a leader, then that will be absolutely impossible. So I leave you with this one question. What side do you want to be on as a teacher, staff member, administration, or whatever important role that you play in education and in your school? Would you like to be the leader that helps with collaboration work and helps take burdens from your fellow coworkers and helps lead the students to develop Christ-like character? Or would you like to be an observer who sits by, who does not care about the school improvements, who does not want to help, and who does not want to be there for the children to help them grow in Christ? Do you want to be the leader or the observer? Thank you for listening.